Ponytown just updated the caves? Well, yes, but also no. This is a community-made map that for some reason is here. I actually don't really understand the reasoning behind all of this, but it does seem that they are interested in at least updating the main caves, because the main caves actually do still look like the normal caves that we all know and maybe love. But this is a community fan-made map by Angel, Beazle, Cosmic, Delphinx, Gummy Gals, Minty, Freckles, Misty Shadows, Nom, Pink Burst, Portal Bump, and Videheart. It is a, you can have a ponytastic Halloween here. This is a pretty cool map. It's got all kinds of stuff going on. You know, it's got some gravestones. It's got some spooky faces in the walls. The bats look a little bit different than they usually do. Some broken crystals of different colors and stuff around. There's a coffin here, which is very interesting. This black cabinet, which I think is just a recolored, just regular cabinet. All kinds of stuff are going on here. We even have all these drink barrels and stuff. And there are a couple things I want to say about this. Firstly, they're using special dev tools that, you know, the developers have as well, but these items don't necessarily exist, if that makes sense, in the game files. For example, if I go back to the beginning here, all the way back up here, this actually isn't even an item in the game at all. This, I believe, is a bitmap image, and I say that just because when I first entered, this is the outside, by the way, and it tells you about it right here. Also, you can open up your mini-map, and it will be located right here where it says community map, and there's currently 0 players in there because I'm on the test server. But if you come in there, there was one instance where I went in, and for a split second, it was just a blue square, and so I'm pretty sure that just isn't even an item at all, and they use some kind of image for that, which is a bit of a shame. I really was hoping that they would use like just regular PT items, but I guess that's not necessarily everything that they did. There's all kinds of stuff. There's a skeleton here, and there's all kinds of spooky ghosts and stuff. They even have these like weird drink barrel cup things that you usually find in the event servers and stuff. You can't pick them up, but there are all kinds of stuff all over the map. There's even this cauldron here, which is using the raindrop effects, which is pretty cool. Another spooky cat there. All kinds of stuff. A weird special pool in the corner. I wonder what that's all about. You could probably find a ton of things, but the other thing that I wanted to mention, besides the fact that there's a fish on the wall right here, which I just now noticed, is these notes that seem to be everywhere. I feel like the people that made this intended there to be like hover text over these, and maybe it was removed. Maybe they weren't allowed to do it or something. I have no idea, but it's certainly interesting that there's like notes kind of seemingly hidden everywhere, and I'm curious as to what the lore is for that. I would love to, oh man, I just lagged out real bad there. I would love to talk to the people that worked on this and kind of pick their brain at it and everything. But this isn't the only thing in the update, so let's move over to Birthmark over on the main game to talk about all of the different items that are added to the build menu. It's me, it's Birthmark. We have all kinds of cool items here now. We have some columns here. Look at these columns. They're actually pretty cool. I love columns. I'm a sucker for columns, and we got 2 new ones here, and you can even change the color of them to be slightly different shades of gray and stuff. They might be a little bit hard to tell the difference when you're colorblind or something, but I'm sure you guys can work it out. We also have statues for the first time ever that are like actually statues and not just like a pony trophy or like the statuette bust thing or whatever. But it comes in like bronze and gold and then silver and then like some stone variants here. Pretty cool. We have like a little podium thing for this as well, which is really cool. It comes in like wood colors as well. I really hope that in the future they change this to be kind of like more separated or something, just because it feels like I should be able to change the color of this plaque and the wood around it, but you currently can't do that. So hopefully in the future this will get a little bit more updated and stuff, because it's pretty cool, but I don't know, something is a bit off about it. And of course we have the statue without being on the thing right here, and we have a ton of different banners which also come in a ton of different colors. I mean, we can change these to be whatever color we want to. How about we make that a nice deep blue color right there? You can't even hardly actually, the stripes are just straight up invisible if you use that color, which is very interesting. I don't think that's intentional, but anyway, you have all kinds of different banners here, even some with like pony heads on them and stuff like that. And some of these, I believe, can be rotated, so we can rotate some of these like this if you wanted to. This could be cool too. You could use this maybe as some kind of like, I don't know, almost like a gate of some kind. So if I was to like, I don't know, move this and then put this right here, and I can't rotate that while I'm cloning it for some reason. But you could do something kind of like this where they're connected, and then it's like open up the gates, and you can flip these open and then come through, and it's kind of a cool thing. They don't have a collider, so it doesn't really work as much as you would want it to, but it's kind of cool, and you can do that with a handful of these other ones like this one here and this one and this one, and this one right here. So they can be rotated. We have some new torches as well. These torches are really cool. You can actually pick these up and they will be lit like this, and they're on fire, and you can take them into the new caves if you wanted to. We have some that are hanging on the wall that are lit, some that just don't have any torch inside them at all or aren't lit. And then of course these as well that are the closer to these torches and stuff. We even have like the torch holder thing without anything in it at all, so that's pretty cool too. And we have new walls as well. Look at all these different walls. They come in a lot of different colors, but it's pretty much just 2 brand new walls basically. We have some new brick walls and some new stone walls. The stone walls, I guess technically aren't a new wall. They just kind of renamed it. Well, I guess they didn't even really rename it. They just updated the texture, I guess. It's called beige stone now, as you can see. That is your old stone walls. And then, of course, there is now a brick color as well. So we have bricks here and then stone. These are the same stone walls that you've been using forever. They've just updated the texture. That's kind of like the flooring. I believe it was just called stone brick or something like that. I honestly don't remember it, but it was the brick with the border around it and stuff like that. It kind of looked similar to this or whatever, but they updated the texture, so now it is different. And of course they added a new one as well, which is just brick texture, and it comes in a bunch of different colors as well. So there is some cool stuff you can do with building now. But let's move on to No Pony and go straight to the changelog to talk about some of the other things, because we are currently in version 0.123.0, where toys are now ready to be collected. They only added 20 new of them, however. The Halloween new community map exists, and you can find it on your mini map. There's also new castle themed items, walls, and floors as well for the builders, and you can turn off your held items. So if we actually go back to Birthmark here, and I get, let's say, a lantern here real quick. This lantern is lit, but if I pick it up and then do a very special thing, which I believe is light off, it's called toggle held light. Kind of a dumb command name if you ask me, but anyway, you can toggle the light off, and then if I do that again, toggle held light, it will toggle the light back on. I believe you can do this with torches too. I need to double check that though, to be honest with you, because I don't actually know if it does. Yeah, it does. And then you can light it back up. So this is kind of a really cool, really useful thing that you can do. I think there's an action for it as well. If there's not, there really definitely needs to be one. Let's see, action, toggle held light. Yep, there is an action for it. Let me drag that over here, because that is something I will most likely be using a lot more often than some of the other stuff. But as you can see, there's an action for it too, so I can just press this and turn my torch on or off, and do the same thing with the lanterns, or pretty much any light source that exists in the game. I want to say sparklers don't work. Let's see, let's double check sparklers as well. We have a sparkler here. Let's pick it up. It's lit, and now let's press this button. I cannot toggle the light off of the current held object, so you cannot do it with sparklers, which kind of makes sense, because sparklers in real life, once they're lit, there's no real turning them off without like ruining the whole sparkler. Anyway, back to the changelog. They added the ability to toggle held lights with the command there. The new castle placeables that I showed you there. The new holdable torches and placeable brick walls and brick floors. 7 new colors to stone walls and 7 new colors to brick with the darker border floors as well. They overhauled the stone walls and brick with darker border floors. Renamed brick to brick with darker border, which is kind of a mouthful. Improved sprites loading. Fixed spooky tree with lantern losing shadow when at screen edge. Full screen fixes. Pony editor toolbars being misaligned on pony preview fixes, and map error fixers. So there is a handful of different changes here, but the main thing here is that we have all these new items and this new way to toggle off lights and stuff, which will be very useful for certain role plays and other situations. There might even be some mini games and stuff like that you can incorporate with this. But there's also, of course, the candy collection event. So if we actually come out here to the candy collection event and get ourselves a jack-o'-lantern wherever we can find one of these. Here's one right here. We can start picking up candy and start collecting candy. Look at that. We got, ooh, a new one already, a little jellyfish looking dude. There's only 20 new ones, which is a little bit of a disappointment, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, I make update videos every single time there's something of interest, and I make a ton of other general Ponytown videos, so you should consider subscribing, maybe liking this video, or subscribing to the channel. I don't know. I think I've repeated that a couple of times already, but that's okay. Please do all of those wonderful things like that, because when you do wonderful things like that, not only do you get access to wonderful content such as this, but you also get to become wonderful yourself. And I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful. I'm gonna get all the toys. It will be all mine.